all you lovely people, welcome to Everything Crochet and More. I'm your host Vipul Patel and this is the part 18 of our Crochet the SONA Doily or centerpiece. So in part 17 we finished with our rounds 33 and 34, and in part 18, this is the last part by the way, we'll be making our last round, that is round 35. So let's begin with the round 35. So we'll begin with the chain 1 like so, and we'll be making 4 single crochet stitches in the next chain 4 loop. So put your hook under the next chain 4 loop and make 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 single crochets done. We'll skip the next cluster stitch and put your hook in the next chain 4 loop and make 4 single crochets in that chain 4 loop as well, like so. Now that done, followed by again skip the next cluster stitch and put your hook under the next chain 4 loop and make 4 single crochets in that chain 4 loop as well, like so. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. That done, followed by again skip the next cluster stitch and put your hook under the next chain 4 loop and make 4 single crochets in that loop, like so. Now that done, followed by skip the next cluster stitch and make 4 single crochet stitches in the next chain 4 loop, like so. 3 and 4. So that done. Now that done, followed by again 4 single crochet stitches in the next chain 4 loop, and we'll be skipping the next cluster stitch as well. So put your hook under that next chain 4 loop and make 4 single crochets in the next chain 4 loop as well. That done, followed by again skip the next cluster stitch and put your hook under the next chain 4 loop and make 4 single crochets, like so. That done, followed by again skip the next cluster stitch and put your hook in the under the next chain 4 loop and make 4 single crochets, like so. That done, again skip the next cluster stitch and put your hook under the next chain 4 loop and make 4 single crochets, like so. That done. So with this we finish with the first set of our triple crochet cluster stitches. Now that done. Now here, in between the first set and the second set here, put your hook under these two. That is the last cluster stitch of the previous set and the first cluster stitch of the next set of cluster stitches. So put your hook in between them like so and pull thread through and make a single crochet. That done, followed by again the same thing. Skip that first cluster stitch and put your hook under the next chain 4 loop and make 4 single crochets, like so. Now that done, followed by now put your hook under the next chain 4 loop. We'll skip the next cluster stitch as well and 4 single crochet stitches in that chain 4 loop as well, like so. That done, again we'll skip the next cluster stitch and 4 single crochet stitches in the next chain 4 loop, like so. That done, again skip the next and 4 single crochet stitches in the next chain 4 loop like so. That done, followed by again we'll skip the next cluster stitch and 4 single crochet stitches in the next chain 4 loop like so. That done, again skip the next cluster stitch and 4 single crochet stitches in the next chain 4 loop like so. That done, again we'll skip the next cluster stitch and 4 single crochet stitches in the next chain 4 loop like so. That done, again skip the next cluster stitch and 4 single crochet stitches in the next chain 4 loop like so. That done, again we'll skip the next cluster stitch and 4 single crochet stitches in the next chain 4 loop like so. That done. Now here as well, in between these two sets of 10 cluster stitches here, we'll put a hook in between the last cluster stitch of this previous set and the first cluster stitch of the next set like so, and make a single crochet. That done, again skip the first cluster stitch here and put your hook in the next chain 4 loop and make 4 single crochets like so. That done, skip the next cluster stitch and put your hook under the next chain 4 loop and make 4 single crochets like so. That done, again skip the next cluster stitch and put your hook under the next chain 4 loop and make 4 single crochet stitches like so. Now that done, again skip the next cluster stitch and make 4 single crochet stitches in the next chain 4 loop like so. That done, again skip the next cluster stitch and 4 single crochet stitches in the next chain 4 loop like so. Again skip the next cluster stitch and 4 single crochet stitches in the next chain 4 loop like so. Now that done, we'll skip the next cluster stitch and put a hook under the next chain 4 loop and make 4 single crochet stitches like so. That done, again we'll skip the next cluster stitch and put a hook under the next chain 4 loop and make 4 single crochets like so. That done, again we'll skip the next cluster stitch and make 4 single crochet stitches in the next chain 4 loop like so. That done. Now here again we'll put a hook between the last cluster stitch of the previous set of cluster stitches and here and the first cluster stitch of the next set of cluster stitches. So put your hook in between them like so and make a single crochet. That done. Now here in this set of double treble cluster stitches as well, so here there are chain 5 loops. So in every chain 5 loop we'll be making 5 single crochet stitches. So let's begin. Put your hook under the next chain 5 loop and make 5 single crochets like so. 3, 4 and 5. So 5 single crochet is done. We'll skip the next cluster stitch and put a hook under the next chain 5 loop and make 5 single crochets like so. 4 and 5. 5 single crochet is done. Again we'll skip the next cluster stitch and put a hook under the next chain 5 loop and make 5 single crochet stitches like so. Again we'll skip the next cluster stitch and put a hook under the next chain 5 loop and make 5 single crochet stitches in that loop like so. 3, yes. That done, again we'll skip the next cluster stitch and put a hook under the next chain 5 loop and make 5 single crochet stitches like so. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. That done, again we'll skip the next cluster stitch and make 5 single crochet stitches in the next chain 5 loop like so. That done, again we'll skip the next cluster stitch and make 5 single crochet stitches in the next chain 5 loop like so. 3 and 2, 5. That done, followed by again we'll skip the next cluster stitch. Then we'll be making 5 single crochet stitches in the next chain 5 loop like so. That done, again we'll skip the next cluster stitch and put a hook in the next under the next chain 5 loop and make 5 single crochet stitches like so. 5 single crochet. This we finish with our first set of our double treble cluster stitches. Now as you'll know, this set represents the end of one repetition. So now we'll finish our first repetition with a single crochet stitch in between the last cluster stitch of the previous set and the first cluster stitch of the next set. So put your hook in between those two cluster stitches and make a single crochet. Now with this we finish with our first repetition. So we'll be repeating everything that we've done from the beginning till the single crochet in between the last cluster stitch of our double treble and of our double treble cluster set and the first cluster stitch of the next triple crochet cluster set. So we'll be repeating this pattern of single crochet stitches 3 more times to finish with our round 35. So let's finish with our round 35. So basically what we'll be doing is we'll be making 5 single crochet stitches in every chain 5 loop and 4 single crochet stitches in every chain 4 loop, and we'll be making 1 single crochet in between the first and the last cluster stitches of 2 sets of cluster stitches. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So those are the sets of 1 single crochet stitches that we've made. So 4 such sets of 1 single crochet stitch in each repetition. That will have groups of 4 single crochet stitches and groups of 5 single crochet stitches. So if we count, we must have in each repetition 9 into 3, 27 groups of 4 single crochet stitches and 9 groups of 5 single crochet stitches with 4 groups of 1 single crochet stitches in between every set. So with that, let's finish making the remaining 3 repetitions to finish with our doily. So the remaining 3 repetitions are done except 1 single crochet, and that we'll be doing together. So here, after our 5 single crochet stitches in this last chain 5 loop, we'll put a hook between this last double treble cluster stitch and this first triple crochet cluster stitch like so and make a single crochet. That done, now we'll finish around 35 with a slip stitch in the first single crochet stitch like so. That done, again yarn over once and we'll lock this thread and cut it. Now that done, now we'll weave in the ends and then we'll go over the stitch count of our round number 35 and done. So we've weaved in the ends and this is what our final complete doily looks like. So with this we finish with our round 35 as well as our Crochet the SONA Doily or centerpiece pattern. So this is what it looks like. I have stretched it and laid it out. A single crochet, sometimes they get clumpy, so just give it a good stretch at the edges and it will be fine. So if you all want, you all can keep this doily as is, or you all can starch it and stretch it out so it will look more prominent. All the stitches will really stand out after starching and blocking. So in the next video tutorial, we'll be doing the starching and blocking of our doily. So I have done the math here in my pattern book. So here the stitch count of our round number 35 is we have in each set of triple crochet cluster stitches, we have 3 such set in each repetition. So in total we have 3 into 4, 12, and in each set we have 9 loops of 4 chains, and each loop has 4 single crochet stitches. So here 12 into 9 into 4, that is 232 single crochet stitches. And here we have in each repetition we have 1 set of double treble crochet cluster stitches, and in each set we have 9 loops of 5 single crochets, 9 loops of chain 5, and in each loop we have 5 single crochet stitches. So 4 such sets. So 9 into 4, 36. 36 into 5 is 180. And here in between each set of cluster stitch we have 1 single crochet stitch. So in each repetition we have 4 such single crochets. So 4 into 4 is 16. So 432 plus 180 plus 16 gives you 628 single crochet stitches. So in total we must have 628 single crochet stitches in our round 35. Now let's weigh this doily. So this doily weighs 170 grams plus minus 20, I don't know. So with this we finish with our part 18 of our Crochet the SONA Doily video tutorial. So if you like what you see, then do give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions or suggestions for us, please leave them in the comment section below this video tutorial, and do subscribe to our channel and press that bell icon for instant notification on our latest video tutorials. And I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, take care, bye bye, and as always, happy crocheting.